Alright, hello, this is a follow-up to yesterday's film where apparently this first solution, this was not viable, not easily viable, and so this film just briefly explores this alternative, which is using your existing holes that you already have drilled, and that's how I'm showing them there. And these things at the edge don't need to go, and this no longer is needed either because we are going to be eliminating that roof load in this plan. If we do this, that roof load has to go back in the wall. But that brings us back down to 5,400, and that existing drilled footing will do 5,400 pounds. This is a quick look at what I would do to make this happen back here. These joists are all notched, and as I'm going to show in this exploration, I'm showing that beam drop 3 inches. So those joists are notched, but you leave 5.5 at this end, and these 4 blue ones continue on, and you use these LUCs at the end of those to hold the red ones. And this can be just screw connection or whatever. You might want to put hangers on that as well, but that's pretty tight in there. That is how I did that overhang, and you'll see that in section where I show that those two 2x12s dropped 3 inches. And from this end, all those joists still go into that beam with the same joist hangers, and that's fine. And we get rid of that middle column back at the house. It stays out at the other end, which means that column that's down there at the bottom of this drawing, I'm not going to show it, I'm not going to explore it, that hole that's down at the other end of this one, that should be increased to 32 inches in diameter at the bottom, and at least 8 inches thick of that 32. But the one at the house gets eliminated, and these 2 LVLs go into that wall. Well, those joists go against beam B just like before. You can see them here. In this I'm showing 7'11" to the surface of the deck, and I think it's 7'11" to the top of the framing. In any event, these are these columns that are moved out here, and this is that one that's going to go away. But first of all, we drop that beam to 3 inches. That gives us clearance of 6'7" and 3/4, which is just under the height of a door, an interior door, any door. And that was dropping at 3 inches. And we cut this over here. I know that's a pain in the neck to make this notch like that, but hopefully that'll give that a little bit more rigidity, particularly if we're just down to 3 inches that we can go by there. 3.5 or more is going to be fine, and you won't have to notch it. You'll be able to just go straight across. But you'll have to find a mix between how low you drop that beam and what you do from there on. You can drop that beam as low as 6'4" in this space down here, which is another 3 3/4, which is pretty substantial. If you can drop that though and can live with it where 5.5 is traveling across here, that I think would be ideal. But 3.5 would be a bare minimum to not be doing this notching bit. So then you move that the margin column out as well to align with that. That was dropping it to 3 inches. You can drop 6'4" inches, be all the way down to 6'4" in that space. And then up top, then that beam just continues over and presumably dies against the brick, because it didn't look like you were going to clad those. That's all treated. So that's what I would do with that at both ends. But this here, I'm still showing this increase to that 32-inch diameter because it's still carrying that whole 8,700 or 8,800 pound load out here. And backing this out, here's the 2 LVLs, and right, they will have to be 18'4", a little bit longer anyway, because you'll do whatever you do at this end. But again, these aren't treated, so I'm not sure. You're going to have to clad those with something. Back here though, this can be just a single 2x8 like what you were showing, all this framing back here, and you just have to bring your solid bearing from there all the way down to here. I took a quick minute to see if you could just rely on the double top plates to carry that load and ignore putting blocking in this wall, and it appears that that would be risky at best. So if you do it this way, I think you've got to open this wall down here and get in blocking or confirm that there is, and the same with down here. And that's that. Hopefully that helps more than the first film did. Thanks very much, and I'll talk to you soon.